What's good, family? I want to talk to you today about learning and what it is. And you may be like, why do you have a picture of the galaxy here? Well, if you know what you're looking at, if you truly understand what you're looking at, you'll understand why I put it here. How long is this talk going to go? I don't know. I just want to put some new seeds in your head. Language is very important, people. And controlling one's own language is of the highest importance. Every child born on this planet gets a taste of controlling his own language. And to the degree that he's left to experiment with the reality himself, is to the same degree his language is going to become more and more precise to what direct reality is. You see, creation is the only thing that can create creation. Nothing else can create creation. Destruction cannot create creation. Amalgamation cannot create creation. Melting cannot create creation. Only creation can create creation. There are many things out here that exist, but not everything that exists is of creation. There are many things in creation, but not everything that's in creation is of creation, just like inside of the body. Okay? There are many things that are of the creation of the body, and there are many things that are not of the creation of the body. And those things weigh down and slow the creative process of the body. And sometimes those things can become monsters and attack the body. That's what's called cancer. But everything in creation is not of creation, but everything of creation is true to creation. Nothing in creation destroys itself. Creation only destroys those things that would hinder its ability to recreate itself. Now you be asking, what does this have to do with language? And why do you have this image of this galaxy up here? Well, if you look at the movement of the galaxy, it's in a spiral fashion. It's in a circular fashion. It's a cycle. It's cause and effect. You do something, I'm gonna do something back. You see? So when children are born, they have no fear, only curiosity. And they express that curiosity through their actions. They feel something, they turn it into an act, they do it. The universe shows them it shows them the result of what they've done. They internalize that. It multiplies what their feeling can show them, and then they do again and again and again. When one attempts to articulate what he already understands, that's where language comes in. You see? When we go to school, the polarity or the movement of the schooling kind of reverses what nature does. And we become so inculcated that we miss the movement of nature altogether. And as time goes on, we start to put more value into how we were taught to do things rather than looking back into nature itself. Because look, everything in creation is created with a divine purpose. That purpose is independent of what you may think it is. The purpose is what it is, independent of our ability to know or understand what it is. And that purpose expresses itself in its function. See, nature is perfect already. Creation is already perfect. Everything in creation is created for a purpose, and that purpose is expressed in its function. If you can read the function and understand the purpose, then in your internal universe, you have the ability to recreate that function with an exact understanding of its original purpose. If you are in harmony with the original purpose and your actions are expressions of the true purpose that you learn from creation, then your creation will itself gain its own life and itself will be able to recreate. If you are out of harmony with divine purpose, then that which you make will ultimately destroy itself. So, creation does not destroy itself. Creation multiplies itself. So you know whether something is divinely ordered by its function. What does this have to do with language? Huh. Well, it has everything to do with it. You see, if you understand that everything that's created in the universe already has its purpose and is already performing its function and is already expanding itself via its function, and everything that is of it only creates more abundance of itself. It only creates more life. Life creates life, which creates life, which creates life. Abundance, which creates abundance, which creates abundance, which creates abundance. That's really the true economy, if you understand it from that level. So, there is a very beautiful bonus to making sure that your own soul, your own mind, is always aligned with what is true. Because when you are in alignment with truth, you gain the ability to create life with it. It will have a resonance. People will be able to feel it. It can be felt. See, your emotions, your true emotions are simply you receiving that which is projected. Truth is always projecting itself. You know, I have a saying that goes like, momentum creates its own motivation. If you are in harmony with the order that creates creation, you will never lack for motivation. You see, everything begins as a seed. What is the life cycle of a star? Let's run through that real quick. The star, it's exploded out of a black hole. Shines bright. As it gets older, it cools down, becomes a planet. Then it cools down, becomes a black hole. And it sucks in, its magnetism attracts densities of light that are lower than it, which creates another explosion. So one black hole gives birth to millions and billions of stars. And each one of those stars, at some point in time, will become a mother of stars herself. It creates abundantly, forever, non-stop. So, when I learn my languages, what I'm doing is I'm attempting to tap directly into what it is. You see, it's not the surface that tells you what it is. Although the surface, it moves and is formed by the core. If it's a natural creation, it will be formed by the core, and it will move in the order of the core, which will allow you to work internally within yourself to align yourself with it on a emotional level, and you will know it for what it is and be able to recreate that. If you yourself are honestly and truthfully in tune with that which created that. You see. And that's really the key. Let's say that you tune into something and you're able to create it, and it now creates. People look at it like, wow, that's amazing. People can ask you any question on any angle about it. And no matter how deep in the detail you go, they will never have the exact recipe to recreate your creation, because your understanding is unique to you. But if your understanding is in alignment with divine creation, everything you create from your understanding will have life. So when you explain it to someone, you're trying to share with them to spark their desire to go within themselves and to tap into their own internal mind, their own universe, and to understand themselves and create from themselves, just as you have done within yourself. And they say, show me some proof. I'm like, look, man, the proof is in the function, what I've created from my understanding, and my ability to articulate that which I've created, which I'm doing so to the best of my potential. My ability to articulate it has nothing to do with my ability to create it. In fact, mimicry is not creation. Mimicry is actually very destructive, because the only thing that can be divinely ordered are things that come from creation. If your own core is numb, that means that it has no movement. Then you unfortunately have no ability to create within yourself. But if you have just a little drop, a little spark, and you exercise being honest and truthful, that spark will start to grow into a black hole. And it will grow in density, and eventually it will explode, giving you abundant powers of creation. There's no such thing as talent, in the sense that the person expressing that talent doesn't know what he's doing. Of course he knows what he's doing. But just because others cannot imitate it doesn't mean the person that has it is just lucky. That's not how creation works. See, you have a lot of energies out here that seek to distract you from creation, and I'm saying there's no need to verbally prove anything that you understand. If you understand it, then that understanding will be demonstrated in its function. Right? I don't need to argue that the sun will be high in the sky at 12 noon every day. Right? Because here's the thing, you start playing around with that game of proof, and others come together and they decide to move the prime meridian, 2,000 miles away, so that when you look up in the sky at 12 noon, the sun is not straight up, and people call you a liar. So you don't know what you're talking about. When they conspired to move the prime meridian and change the time zone up and didn't tell you. So what they did is they violated the spirit of your declaration that the sun is up at 12 noon. But just because they violated the spirit of it doesn't destroy the spirit of it. Truth cannot be destroyed. And there are those who wish to make you chase after illusion and enjoy illusion. When you're listening to someone's language and your instinct is to laugh or to chuckle and say it sounds funny compared to what? It sounds backward compared to what? It sounds stupid compared to what? It sounds goofy compared to what? You should not be doing comparative analysis to anything. You know, when I was younger and some insecure people would tell me, man, you think you're better than us? My honest retort would be, I'm not thinking about you at all. I'm thinking about how can I best attune what I'm trying to create, you know. How can I align my understanding with that which actually is? So when I'm listening to someone speak to me, I don't care what someone tries to tell me, and I want them to be as honest as possible. So when people speak to me, I facilitate an environment of honesty, you know. So when people talk to me, they feel like they can tell me anything. It's because it's true. I really want to know what they're saying. You see, I listen for what their true meaning is without imposing what I think they're saying onto them and throwing it back at them and arguing with them over something I think they said which they did not say. People can actually say things that are contrary to the words they're saying them with, because words are just tools to attempt to convey an honest understanding. So you can speak honestly, but if the listener does not have an honest heart when they're receiving your words, you're going to have miscommunication every time. So when I'm looking in these textbooks and they have pre-scripted sentences, well, in truth, nothing in nature is standard. Everything in nature is unique to itself. No two blades of grass are exactly the same in nature. Okay? No, there's nothing in nature made to a standard. Making everything to a standard is a reduction of what is naturally true. Those who cannot comprehend or fully relate to the vastness and the truthfulness of creation, then they have to alter creation. They have to truncate creation. They have to destroy creation. They have to try to control creation in order to be able to survive in it. Which one are you? You know, when you're becoming yourself, that process of becoming never ends. The process of education should never end. Standard education and true education are not the same thing. And if you are engaged in true education, you will see standard education for what it is, and you will be able to navigate that accordingly. If you cannot see true education ever, and you will become a slave to standard education. Truth is not a slave to anyone. Creation is not a slave to anyone. Its purpose is what it is, independent of what anyone believes. Its function is what it is, independent of how much of its function others can understand. It's evident in its ability to create without destroying, create without profaning. If you are to have those same powers within yourself, that has to be cultivated. It has to be a conscious, wide open decision. We have to embrace truthfulness over belief. When the truth shows itself, you have to yield to truth. And I can't give anyone step by step for how I'm learning, because I can only show you where I came to see the purpose. The purpose is what creates the function. There are no steps, and there are no secrets. There are no mysteries. The things you consider to be secrets and the things that you consider to be mysteries are simply the limits of your own understanding, which you are responsible for expanding. No one can make you understand anything. In fact, only a parasite or a vampire would honestly tell someone, make me understand what you're saying. They are honestly expressing what they're saying. Your ability to hear what they're saying is your ability to hear what they're saying. So this is how true I am. You see, when you deal with people who don't speak your language, they are expressing their culture. Their culture is independent of them. They are creations of their culture. Okay? They are creations of it. True culture comes from the purpose a people have. And people execute that purpose, sometimes not even knowing what it is. But everything in creation is in alignment with everything in creation anyway. So natural culture is a creation of creation. So in a natural way, before entertainment, before propaganda, people will behave as their blood says. You know, their nature. People will move to their nature. When you understand a people's nature and are able to connect into it within yourself, you yourself will be in alignment with those people. And as you exercise that alignment, it becomes more and more fluent. You know, imagine how Vietnamese used to sound to me. I couldn't understand. I couldn't hear nothing. You know, it sounded like da 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 da. So I had to eat the foods they ate. Go and listen to the music they listened to. Go hang out with them and sit down and just sometimes I would go to places where only Vietnamese people would go and sit down and say a couple words. They'd hand me a bowl and chopsticks, and I'm just sitting there quietly listening to a group of maybe 10 or 12 of them talk amongst themselves. You see, I have a way of not imposing my energy on the people. I actually listen to them, and I'm trying to dance with their energy within myself so that I come to understand it. That way, see, what you want is your emotions to control your actions, and your emotions to harmonize with the energy coming at you. See, your ability to understand what I'm expressing depends on your ability to relate to what I'm saying. I can't do that for you. I can only describe what I'm doing and why. I can show you how I can show you the road I walked, but as you walk that road, you will start to see it yourself. You see, your internal goal is to become sensitive to the energy around you. Creation begins with its purpose already divinely set, and that purpose is executed in its function. That function creates a magnetic resonance. That resonance is projected outward, which you feel. And as you become more sensitive to it, you become less clumsy. You become more, you know. So if you were to get in your car and drive with your eyes closed, just because you see nothing does not mean nothing is there to be seen. And direct reality will show you what you should have seen before you got behind the wheel and why you were behind the wheel. Divine purpose does not tailor itself to your deficiency. You need to be increasing your efficiency. Deficiencies are severely punished by creation. Honesty. You know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. You understand what you know, and you don't understand what you don't understand. Saving face, there is no face to save. You let it be what it is until it's what it is, as it is. You start from zero. So let's say, how do I start a language? Listening is very important, but also getting the culture, letting the culture emanate itself to you in all of your senses, and you being able to harmonize with exactly what it is. That's not an easy skill to attain, but it's one that you gain as you exercise truthfulness. You cannot impose what you think is going on onto what is going on. That causes disorder. See, you may see in some of my videos where I chat for over 2 hours with native speakers of Vietnamese who don't speak English with no subtitles. And I don't prompt them to tell me what to do. I let them do what they do as they do. I let them do what they're most comfortable with. I let them do what their fullest expression will be. What I do not do is attempt to change the right side of the equation. I only work on the left side of the equation, which is what the divine creator gave me control over. How I handle myself, the energy I project determines the reflection I'm going to receive. So as I'm receiving that reflection, I'm listening to the reflection in order to understand how I am projecting myself. You see, this goes way beyond you are as you think you are. It goes way beyond that. Who you really are is expressed in the kind of energy you attract to yourself. So the more you start to understand what you're attracting to yourself, and the more you start to understand what you're projecting, the more in tune with creation you will be. The more truthful your ability to see and receive what people tell you or what they show you truthfully. You will start to get certain vibes in places. When people come up next to you, you'll feel a certain way. And you'll know what it is. So you listen. And this is why I use a lot of music. Because music is the soulful expression of the culture. I'm not talking about this new music, this pop stuff. There's no soul in that. That's all imitation from other people's culture and music. I'm saying the real cultural expression is the same energy that the real culture moves with. So when you start to vibe with the music, you'll automatically catch the language. And language flows from emotions out. It doesn't come from the words. You feel what someone is saying, independent of their words. Those who lack the ability to empathize, they worry about word order and written grammar. But true grammar is the rhythm. It's the whole rhythm. Whole rhythm is whole truth. Whether you can tap into truth or not does not change truth. Although you don't see it, it's there. Truth is measured in its weight or its magnetism. It's measured in cause and effect. Illusion is always destructive. But truthfulness is always creative. So, Hope I gave you some things to think about. This is just general philosophy. If you have any specific questions you need answers to, feel free to ask them. And until next time, people, peace.